So, hello everyone. Welcome into the closet. We have some things to discuss today. And today we're going to be talking about shame. People, you feeling ashamed of your journey, of your story, of mistakes that you may have made, where you have encountered learning opportunities, and other people trying to make you feel ashamed of your story. And long story short, all I can say is you don't have a reason to be ashamed, and also don't allow other people to let you be ashamed, and own your story, and then take that story and use it to help other people. So two things prompted me to make this video. The first was I received a comment from someone who watched my video. Hey out there, I don't remember your name, but I remember the comment specifically. And they were like, they felt so bad because they were dealing with some of the things that I was describing in the video that they were watching. And I responded and letting them know that, there's no reason to feel bad. And basically, we don't know what we don't know. And it's not until we're made aware of where we may be ignorant in an area that we can even make change, and that everything's going to be okay. And I really do believe that, because I will be 49 years old this year, and all of the mistakes, all of the years that I was ignorant to this, to that, all of the things that I may not have received from my parents, but yet I am still here, I'm still in my right mind, and I'm still moving on. So, and the other one was an article that I read actually just today about a young lady. She was a teenager and she ran away. And in her process, she ended up getting trafficked. And she was eventually rescued, thank goodness, thank God. And now, she's telling other young people, she's in her early 20s, I think it says she's 21 now, but she's letting other people know that, hey, honey, let me tell you, do not run away, just giving them all of the tea on what is really going on out there. So I was reading the comments, because I like to read the comments when I'm watching YouTube videos or whatever, just to see, because honey, you don't never know what people are going to comment. But there were so many comments basically shaming this young lady and saying, it was partly her fault. I can't feel bad for her because, she ran away and all of these things. And I was like, wow, that is really ashamed that is what those commenters were able to take from her story, and that they couldn't see that she ran away. She was 15. And okay, this is what she did. So she ran away. She was 15. She went on some website, I don't know what website it was, to basically prostitute herself. I don't even know if she realized that she was prostituting herself, but you could tell in the article that her mind, well, first of all, the fact that she was 15 lets you know that it's a whole lot that she didn't know. Because when you're 15, what do you know? Nothing. You know nothing. And then secondly, as I was reading the article, she made some statements. One was she could not tell if the men who contacted her through that website were really loved her, or if they were using her. Now, as an adult person with life experience and information about what goes on in the minds of adults and all that kind of stuff, I know that any person that is contacting you through a website where you're offering your services, they don't love you. First of all, they don't even know you. And so that right there was a clear indicator that, her mind was not fully developed. She really just didn't even have no idea of what she was doing, because the fact that she would even think that these men would love her because they're contacting her, or be interested in pursuing something with her because they're contacting her through this app. And it's like, no, sweetheart, that's not what's happening. But what I do love is that, she's taking the experiences that she had and everything that she had to endure Ooh, my heart goes out to this young woman. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna post the article below and you can read it. But she talked about how, because she actually, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So actually, someone who contacted her through the app started trafficking her. And so basically, she was the ex-slave. And it was to the point where she said she couldn't even walk anymore. And this person was just selling her. And it also speaks to people's lack of compassion and how judgmental we can be as a society, because it's like, wow, you mean to tell me you don't have any compassion, regardless of how she ended up in the situation, for a 15, 16-year-old that is in that position and having to endure the things that she described. That's just crazy. But let me get back on track, because I can get on a tangent and I wanted to take notes, but then at the same time I was like, you know what, I got to go ahead and make this video, because the video will never get made if I'm waiting for the perfect time, because I'm actually supposed to be doing something else, but that's okay. So back to the shame and owning your story. And I just want to tell anybody out there who may feel ashamed because you didn't know something. And one of the thoughts that I had, and this is what I believe to be true, is that there's no reason for you to be ashamed, because often the things that we should have learned or should have been taught to us when we were children, preteens, teens, adolescents, young people, and we didn't receive what we needed. And so it left us kind of in a place of a deficit. And so if you don't have the information, you don't have it. But the great thing is that you can get the information, that once one of my favorite sayings, that awareness is the beginning of change. Once you become aware of what you lack, or where you may have made a mistake, or where you were ignorant to a particular subject or how things worked, then you can use the power that you have, and you can begin to change those things. You can acquire the knowledge that you did not receive. Now, you can end up stuck if you are so focused on the fact that you didn't receive what you needed as a child, that you were neglected, nobody nurtured you, they didn't talk to you, you didn't receive this, you didn't receive that. The past is the past and it's gone. If you keep looking to the past, you're going to stay in the past. So the great thing is that regardless of what has happened in the past, regardless of what you didn't receive, you can look to the future and you can say, you know what, I didn't receive what I needed in this area, but I can read a book, I can listen to a podcast, I can watch a video, I can take a class, a webinar, I can do any number of things to gain the information that I need now that I see that this is something that I'm lacking. And also, you can take your story and you can help other people, because as the Bible says, there's nothing new under the sun, and you're not the only person. So, my story of how I wasn't really nurtured as a child, and I wasn't given what I was needed as a teen, as a young adult, and it just left me all over the place. Because when I think back on it, I just thank God that I'm alive, because all of the things that happen in the ATL streets and in the city of Atlanta, you're living in a major metropolitan area, you have no idea as a teenager, like the crime, the trafficking of people that has been going on for decades, even back when I was a teenager, and I had no earthly idea. So I'm sure I probably was in some dangerous situations sometimes and just didn't even have the idea. And once I became an adult and I was like, wow, I could have really ended up in a bad situation, in a bad place, or not been here today, because I was just so ignorant to what was going on. And regardless of whether or not anybody informed me, at this point, it really doesn't matter. I'm about to be 50 years old next year. But what I can do is tell someone else that, hey, you can watch out for this. Hey, you can, You can, don't do this or don't do that, or whatever the case may be. So, and that is really what the major one of the major, if not the only reason why I even have this particular channel or any channel that I have, and is to educate and to share my story so that other people don't have to go through the things that I had to go through, because I think that as human beings, excuse me, I need some water. As human beings, we should want to help other people so that they don't have to go through what it is that we had to go through. Something that you may have endured for 5 or 10 years because you didn't have the information, you didn't have the knowledge, whatever the case may be. You can give it to someone else and then they can go ahead and ease on through that or avoid that situation. And, I know that when situations or experiences are not the most positive, we may wonder, well, why did I have to go through this? Why did I have to go through that? I would just say, don't even worry about that, because at this point, if you made it through, you made it through. Be grateful and thankful that you made it through whatever the situation is, and then see what can you take from it that is positive. What can you take from that situation that's positive, and what can you pass on to someone else that is positive? And don't let anybody shame you. There is absolutely no reason to be ashamed, because the bottom line is, whether it's regardless of what area of your life it's in, many of us, if not all people, for the most part, have been in a situation where they didn't know something. Everybody starts at the bottom, so regardless of how you got there or where you are now, some people do start at the top. Some people, there are people that do have the advantage, but I think the majority of people that, we all have lessons that we have learned, and that's just life. And we can't dwell there, and it's definitely not in a place of shame and feeling bad about something. And I hate to even use the word mistake. Like, if you make a mistake, I would just say it was a learning opportunity. I had the opportunity to learn this. I had the opportunity to learn that. When I talk about friendships and I talk about relationships, nobody taught me anything about relationships. Nobody taught me anything about friendships. So I went through all of this foolishness. Now, I could have allowed that to harden my heart and be like, you know what? I'm not talking to people anymore. I'm not having any more relationships with people. Everybody's just trash. It made me think about that TikTok sound that says, what is that? Just as I thought. Trash. I could have had that same attitude, but I don't, because what I have had is an opportunity to learn what to look for, to learn what do healthy relationships look like, what does it look like when someone actually cares about you, it is on your side, it has your back, and what does it look like when somebody is being fake and they don't really like you and they're acting like they do. I don't have to be mad about it, because now I have the information and I have the tools that are needed so that I can successfully navigate relationships, and that I can share with other people, and then I can just take in my own life and say, hey, I know I will never experience that again, because I learned from the time when I had to go through this, that, and the third. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop there, because I don't know how long I've been talking, but I'm sure it's been long enough. I hope that you have gotten something from this video. And if you have enjoyed this video and you enjoy my content, I ask that if you would please subscribe to my channel. And that is if you enjoy the content. Otherwise, hey. But anyway, until next time, take care of yourselves. Toodles!